just waking up feels like I'm at war. Every time I turn a page, I'm scared of what's in store. All the pages torn, change I can't afford. I can't take it, I won't make it back. The future lays ahead, but who can tell if it'll last? 'Cause when I look for it, I only see the broken paths. Why am I so attached? I'm burning with a match. Fuck off, wanna take me for a ride, but I won't let him. So cold like an ice pick through the heart, but I won't sweat it. Lost cause, wait a lifetime for the dark, then it's all better. I guess Peter Pan is right, growing up to wasted time. So I think I'll run away, thinking about it every day. I guess Peter Pan was right, growing up to wasted time. So I think I'll run away, thinking about it every day. I guess Peter Pan was right, growing up to wasted time. So I think I'll run away, thinking about it every day.
What's that? Hey there, why you always looking so upset? That's that, nothing's ever good enough, not at all. What's that? Hey there, why you always looking so upset? That's that, nothing's ever good enough, not at all. See you soon, turn up, have fun, I'm a front. I don't really think I vibe with any of you. Catch a ride, now I'm stuck, I'm a diamond in the rough. Always trying to bring me down, never stress. No love, no smile to be found. You're toxic all of you round. I don't wanna rush this, I'll make a mountain around. You can don't wanna make you sound. And I told her I don't wanna stand you when I'm sober. RG pretty mulling over. Sober my life.
The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. For your best news coverage and commentary, tune in daily at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Morning Fix. The Morning Fix live radio show will begin shortly. Good morning, everybody, here on the Morning Fix. It is Monday, 10:06 Eastern Standard Time here on New York. It is September 26th, and it's 64 degrees and fall-like weather. It's very chilly outside. It's my favorite time of the year. I just want to do some quick shout-outs. I have a quick opening word for you guys here. Kathy, it's looking like you are the winner, and because I didn't get anybody else to match your so big shout outs to you with your contribution. So we'll be letting Keisha know, and we'll get you to send your information over to info. Let's get that caption out for you. Right here is the caption. You can send your information so we can send that over to you at info@inked34.com so we can get that stuff to you, because she gave a sizable donation so that she can be able to be the front runner for the inked only one and only sweater. So congratulations to her. Good morning, Ted. How are you? Good morning, Tina. How are you? It's great to see you here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting. Snowman, Katie, good morning. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Kai, as always, good morning. I hope everybody has their coffee and is ready to go, because I know I sure am. And as I sip my coffee here, and I got my other angle, it's my other camera angle here. I always have it in the background. I never know when to use it, but I'm going to use it now. And got to take a sip of this. This is my fall light coffee here. It's really nice. It's got cats. I'm not really a cat lover. I just love the cat I have. My sister had just gotten a dog, and she has a very big dog. So she was like, "Do you want to take the family cat?" And I said, "Absolutely." Kit has been in our family since I was just before high school, and why wouldn't I take her in, right? Actually, no, later than that, just after high school. Sorry. Uh, she's not that old, but she's elderly, and she's been with me for a few years now, and couldn't see her with another family. So I have this other angle because I wanted to open up the show with this, and that is yesterday I went live on TikTok for the first time in so long. I forget how long it's been since I've been live on TikTok, and I couldn't believe when I talk about the whole idea of real men. Just seeing not only the comments but also hearing some of the individuals that come into the live and ask questions like, what do you determine as a real man? And I'm just like, are we that depraved that we can't decipher or make the hard decision at is or I should say rather, is it that hard of a decision to make to know what a real man is? And just hearing the conversations that follow it. I mean, there are a lot of simplistic people in this country and around the world. Hearing things like patriarchy and hearing things like toxic masculinity doesn't really exist in certain areas in which these big time political elites and saviors out there think that they're conveying. I mean, who are they kidding? Who are they talking to? There are a lot of young men or young, kids as young as my son, who was 14 years old. There are a lot of people out there who are desperate need for male leadership and male guidance, and particularly not just any male, but the male, right? I should be the leader for my son's life, but, circumstances have led us away from each other. And in all honesty, it is what it is. I have to have faith and stay solid in my ground and stay patient until that time comes around, and I have to be ready for when I'm needed. It is what it is. But hearing some of these responses, like, "Oh, you're a wannabe Andrew Tate." Never heard the guy really. I've heard snippets, but I never really sat and listened to him. But that's what we're gonna now tie real men to. I don't agree with the guy, right? Real men. What is a real man? Well, some of the questions that was asked to me was, "What are you talking about? Like a bodybuilder? A bodybuilder? This is how sad and depraved our society has become. That when fathers are not in the home and we don't need men in society, this is what it starts to look like. People get really repulsed by hearing the word real in front of man. I mean, where are we? I'm trying to find the moral compass. And perhaps you guys can have the conversation on TikTok a little bit more. But I was getting berated in the comment section, and I can't do that every day. Constantly getting berated. I mean, just don't let. I mean, Dennis Prager says it best. Don't let the insults go to your heart. Don't let the congratulations go to your head. But at some point, you have to know how to detach yourself because insults do somehow get to you. So you have to take time and space. And I was just getting absolutely annihilated in the comment section and just seeing people just having better conversations around the word toxic masculinity. I don't want to have a conversation about toxic masculinity. I want to find real men because we all need to come together and pick each other up. Men need encouragement. Encourage the man next to you. Don't berate them. Don't tell them what they're doing wrong. Tell them what they're doing right. Just pick them up. Be a need that they may need, and those men are gonna be a need that you need. I guess that balance. We have to play complementary roles, and for some reason we just like to point and bring people down, and is what it is. It's how it is. It's what we do here. We like to commentate and bring things up and talk about things, but I don't take things personal, right? I don't personally hate Joe Biden because I don't know him. I don't personally hate Nancy Pelosi, despite the fact I call her a decrepit dinosaur. I don't know her personally. She could be a really nice lady. I just don't like the conclusion and the side of politics that she's on. But that's fair game. But to personally insult people like we do get on TikTok, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough to deal with. And that's why sometimes I take breaks and I pull away and I come over here to Twitch. And I'm glad you guys follow along. So it's time to get to the show. I just wanted to open up with that. Let's go back over here. Here we are. We're here. Lift them up. That's right. Encouragement. It's always important, especially for the young men out there, right? We have to start encouraging young men. And unfortunately, a lot of people like to degrade or bring them down like, oh, know your place, boy. And it's like, come on, guys. It's unbelievable. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate your support. I appreciate all of your support. Felicia's here. Thank you as well. We need to help our brothers and sisters in Florida and people who came prepared to the house for the storm. Yep. I hope everybody is, settling down for that storm because it's going to get tough. Puerto Rico got hit hard, but I hope you guys are tough and strong and have your resources prepared and ready for you guys for that storm. So it's going to be hard, but you've been here before. Positive reinforcement. That's right, Snowman. Positive reinforcement. Pick a person up. You may not always agree with a person's personality, but it's always important to just say, hey, I don't like the way you say things, but you know what? I know what you mean. It takes me to get through my feelings to just kind of get to that place and go from there. So I saw a couple of sightings of the Morning Fix t-shirts and some mugs. So thank you guys for the support on that. Appreciate that. I was told that it is a very nice fitting shirt, very comfortable. And it is. It is pretty comfortable. It's pretty nice. It's AJ's Rant Room stuff. So it feels comfortable and nice. I like it. All right. So let's get to our first video here on the Morning Fix. And what should we start with? Let's start with this denial that continuously is going on. Yesterday on Fox and Friends, the weekend is usually, there's a barometer. If you look online, they have like these barometers of like how they section off these news cycles. You got the far left, you got the far right, you got the dead center. Anyways, Fox and Friends weekend is actually far right, while Fox and Friends Monday through Friday is almost towards the center. I'm like, there's really not much of a difference between the weekend and it's only different people because why? You have a guy like Pete, you have Rachel Campos, you have Will Kane, and they're kind of more pro America. It's not, yeah, for some reason it's not mainstream. You tell me why. I don't know why, but anyways, I don't find them to be very far right. I think they want to talk about the issues that are going on in people's homes on a daily basis, particularly with this case, which I don't understand why schools continue to deny this. Good morning, Viper. How are you? Why schools continue to deny that this is actually happening. So let's get into this, y'all, and take a look into this. As Fox and Friends, Will Kane and Pete did a very good job at covering this. Let's take a look.
And while some go unnoticed, others, especially on this program, have recently been exposed.
Yeah, so let's go off the wall to give you a few examples. First, Pete, take us to history class.
Yeah, this is Bellevue High School in Washington, and we had a couple parents on yesterday. Their son is a junior and was planning to take a U.S. history course. That's all it said when he was choosing what courses to take. When he actually took the course, this is the syllabus flyer, Decolonizing U.S. History. Community agreements, you need to speak your truth.
So how could you decolonize a history in which you don't know yet, right? You're going into this class to learn about history, and then maybe the next step would be decolonizing. Now, hear me out here, folks. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying is, how do I go into it already with a preconceived idea? Why don't I learn the basic tenets of our history, and then we can talk about whether the support for decolonizing or if that even should be on the table for a conversation. Are we going to continue to have Joy Reids of the world to deny that this is actually happening? Chris Rufo was on her show and she continuously said that this is right-wing fear-mongering tactics. I want you guys to really listen to what happened. One, Pete and Will illustrated and named the school and has the syllabus to which the school is teaching this. So they're not aimlessly saying, generalizing these schools. They're saying this school in Washington, and here's their syllabus. I mean, that's something that people should have to look up, right? Figure it out. If it was general, schools across America, well, then that may be more fear-mongering. But they're specifically citing a school, right? What's your citation? What's your sources that we hear on TikTok? Well, we have it.
Prepared to experience discomfort. And if you look at it, Will, front and center, there's a lot glaringizing me. What is decolonizing U.S. history? But it's the textbook down here on the bottom, written by this guy, that has a lot of people raising their eyebrows.
Howard Zinn. Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States of America. A retelling, a rewriting of American history.
From the Soviet perspective. It is an anti-American U.S. textbook, which is
a rewriting of American history. And I, in some regard, there might be some clerical concerns, maybe some refinements, but to rewrite American history is pretty interesting because you would almost have to go back in time. And that's what people are saying, revisionist. We are reimagining American history, not necessarily just, let me clear up some of those clerical errors. Let me make sure that we add some of this stuff with what already the pre-existing things that we have. To have a today's historian to look back and not protect the tenets of history and say, no, this is what happened in succession. You can add it to it, but don't rewrite it, because that's how historians have protected history and to a T. And why? Because that's how we continue to know where we came from. That's how we continue to learn how to avoid some of those pitfalls we previously stepped into. So let's continue.
in this case they put on the flyer, but otherwise it's often the basis for the actual textbook, even though they don't cite Howard Zinn.
And you spoke to some parents about this exact issue in history class.
Michelle and Cal Jewell, listen.
first paragraph says that we're grateful to stand on the lands of one Indian tribe and we acknowledge the presence of it. So it's, white guy bad, he stole the land from the Indians.
It's exhausting to be a parent right now and to have to babysit what's going on in the classroom. I guess Calvin and I are going to be history teachers.
We reached out to Bellevue High School, did not.
And so, okay, here we go. They mentioned the school again. Here are parents. Here are parents also coming alongside it and says this is what they're teaching. These are the sources. These are the citations. Are MSNBC and Joy Reid going to continue to deny this? Ibram X. Kendi said that we're trying to make MAGA supporters or have Trump supporters in the classroom. Mind you, look at the opposite that is happening. It's not actually MAGA supporters, is quite the opposite, right? All that's happening now is this resistance. Similar to what I was having a discussion yesterday with a young man, I'm assuming that person was a young man, saying that women were subservient to men. When? When in history were women subservient to men? And it's this kind of lens that we look at history and say, hey, because a woman, and let me give you the example as to why he illustrated that women were subservient to men, because women could not have access to a credit card until the 1960s. So your basis on the value and the role of a woman is all based on her access to being able to have a credit card, a bank account. That's our value. Does men have a much higher value because they have higher strength than a woman? Is this all we're rooting our value on, materialistic and physical attributes? I mean, stuff is kind of skewed to me. I've never seen in history where women were subservient. I realized that there were roles in society in which, if you look back during the Prohibition years, women weren't actually upset at it. What it really was is women wanted to get involved in politics only to vote so that they can have a say on prohibiting alcohol consumption. Why? Because they were losing their husbands. Carrie Nation, right? You guys ever heard of her? She lost her husband. She was a fierce activist against the alcohol consumption era. And if you look at that, women wanted to be a part of politics so that they can be fiercely against. The Anti-Saloon League was started not only by a woman, but by a man, and wanted to encourage women to get a part of voting, not because they wanted women or women wanted to be a part of politics in the first place. They just wanted to protect their homes. They wanted to protect what y'all call patriarchy. Interesting. They wanted their men to stay alive, to take care of their homes. And they wanted their husbands to grow. They wanted their sons to grow into those very husbands so that they can take care of their future homes. Interesting. We have to stop looking at history with the lens that they tell us to look at it. We have to look at it as it was. Come to our conclusions later, and we can have the conversations today and say, maybe how does that look today? Or are we happy that we've evolved? Did we evolve? Right? We could have those conversations today all we want, but to simply just denigrate it and say, no, that was when a time where women were subservient to men. No, they weren't. Women had different roles as well as men had different roles. And quite honestly, it was a social construct in which society agreed to it. If they didn't agree with it, then it wouldn't have taken almost 200 years for a woman in this country to fight for their vote. They would have actually fought for it during the establishment of this country, America, the United States country, not the colonial America. But during colonial America, they would have fought in jots for that position back then.
Here back, by the way, those parents petitioned the school for their kid to be able to change the U.S. history course he needs to graduate. They wouldn't let him opt out of the course. You're in our world now, the school says.
All right, next, QR codes in the classroom.
Yes, Hilliard School District in Ohio. Ultimately, parents there have spoken.
Here you go. Another state, another name drop school. Cite your sources. This is not just fear mongering. These are not just outlying cases. We're going to name these schools. And perhaps this is also possibly a reflection of not just Washington, that one high school, but maybe a district, maybe the entire state, just like in Ohio, not just that one school, but a district and maybe the entire state. Who knows? We don't know. But at least it's a starting point, and it gives everyone who denies that this is actually happening a place to start investigating. If you don't think it's happening, then tell me this is not real. And then what do they tell you? Is this bad to be taught in a class? So you concede to the point that this is actually being taught in schools. We don't want it taught in schools. It's not about whether we think it's good or bad. You never had a conversation with us in the first place, us being the parents. You never had a conversation to ask us to say, hey, do you want us to teach this to our kids? Do we all agree on this social construct? Do we all hate Robert E. Lee? Do we all reject the Confederate flag? Where do we stand on this, right? Did we even have this conversation? No, you took it upon yourself to push this, and then you lied to us and then denied it that it was actually being taught. And then when we actually cite our sources and then bring it to your attention, you then go, is this even bad? The goalpost keeps moving, but they never, ever say sorry and ask for the permission.
Out about the fact that kids are being told to talk about gender transitions or conversations or changing their pronouns without consulting the parents. And this particular district, they point out these new badges being handed out by the National Education Association. Teachers can wear them voluntarily, but they say to students, safe person, safe spaces. And if you scan the QR code, you are brought to sexually explicit material that you would not want your kids seeing, but it's right there in the classroom.
You had a great interview with parents saying, or a teacher, I believe it was, saying that teachers are told you're not qualified to talk to students about their perhaps depression or anxiety, their mental issues, but teachers are being put in the position of teaching to them or talking to them about these very sensitive
Yes,
issues.
I wonder what direction your kids will be turned when a teacher is wearing this badge and they're told to consult on, say, sexual issues. Will, you mentioned that. One of the parents, Omar Tarazi, he talked about these gender conversations inside one of his kids' class.
The one thing I would say about this topic here, the only place I like where they're going, but I don't like where it's going to end, because this is why the community calls this some form of homophobia or, hey, we have to find a happy medium. But again, they don't ask, they just push, and then they say, is this even bad to be talked about? How about having organizations as a third party to have these conversations, not only with the parent, but also with the child? Why? Because obviously we have to come to the conclusion that sex is part of our normal life and we should stop shaming about it, whether it's our sexual orientation, our sexual appetites, but we need to do this with wisdom. If it's going to be here, then we have to do it with wisdom. We can't just benignly or blindly just allow our kids to go in a strange place with a new teacher with a new face, consider that a stranger, to then have the sensitive conversation on sexual orientation, sexual appetite, sexual practice, the practice of sex. I'd rather it be more structured. I'd rather there be more supervision, and I'd rather there be more accountability. So we have to tread the fine line here. I like what they're doing, but we have to stay on that line and be very careful that we don't sound like we're just quickly pushing the needle towards hate. I'm not bringing the accusation that Will and Pete in this segment is spreading that. They're not spreading hate. If you know anything about mainstream media, both right and left supports the LGBT plus community. It is how it's being disseminated to our children that they haven't reached the conclusion on. But you can't just do something on someone and just say, oh, we're not doing it, and then turn around and say, well, is it bad? You never asked me. Now you're asking me the question when I call you out on it. And that's completely inappropriate. How about asking me first? I always say this too, with all the big words that get jostled around and all the things that get talked about. What doesn't get talked about here, also on Fox and Friends over the weekend, is how expensive things have become. That speaks the loudest to an American, period. No matter who, no matter where they are on the spectrum, no matter how deep they're and how involved they are in politics, no matter their education level, if you say, hey, it's much harder to get things today than it was yesterday, then people will listen Because why? They feel it. They experience it. They go to the supermarket. They're trying to buy that house. They're trying to buy that car. My buddy just bought a car, had to wait 3 weeks, and he's spending an arm and a leg on a monthly basis. He tried to buy a house. So we have several instances where people are experiencing this. They may not be deep in politics, but hey, you know what they feel it? They feel it in their wallet. And here, Fox and Friends also knocked it out of the door, out of the window, so to speak, with this segment here on the sales of housing across the country.
Residents are fleeing the West Coast in record numbers to escape surging prices and unprecedented crime spike. As a new report reveals how this is impacting local housing markets. According to real estate giant Redfin, Sacramento, Denver, and San Diego were all in the top 5 fast cooling housing markets this year. Seattle topped the list with a whopping 34% drop in home sales. Let's bring in Charles Payne.
Before we get to Charles Payne, guys, Seattle is a beautiful, 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 beautiful city, but it's become virtually unlivable. Why? One, you have crime spikes. Two, you have the increase not only in the Fed, but also on the housing market. No one's taking the dive to buy at this point. So what does that do for us, right? People are actually leaving and fleeing Washington state, despite the fact that you heard from Keisha herself that there's no state income tax. Wow, imagine that, a liberal state with no state income tax, and yet people are fleeing a beautiful, virtually visibly appealing state. This is a most beautiful state next to Salt Lake. I've been there. It's beautiful as well. And next to Denver, Colorado, which I also think is beautiful, but liberals have destroyed Denver. But I think that if you look at some of these places, people are fleeing these visibly appealing locations. Just imagine out of your backyard, out of your back porch, you can just be staring at snow-capped mountains and these beautiful trees that Bob Ross used to paint in his paintings. Imagine that. I mean, this was actually a real place. Imagine being in a place like Alaska that is visibly appealing, like Sitka, Alaska, and Anchorage. I mean, these are beautiful locations, but virtually unlivable at this point.
Host of Making Money on Fox Business. Good morning, Charles. Look, this is a concern for all Americans, the dropping value in home prices, but it's acute on the West Coast. Why?
Well, it's acute in part because of the combination. It's an interesting combination, particularly Seattle, San Francisco, where you have these very liberal policies on crime. Crime is running rampant. You couple that with work from home. So you've got these engineers who say, listen, we don't want to go downtown. We don't want to return to the office. The more they say they don't want to return to the office, the more derelict the office becomes. So Seattle's seen a 34% drop in sales, 18% drop in purchasing price, 100% decline in inventory because everyone's putting their house on the market. So anyone who may have to go into the office there would rather move somewhere else. The people who can work from home will work from home. So it's a deadly circle because there's not going to be any change with respect to the violence because there's no change with respect to.
If you don't have a handle on the crime, guess what? No one's going to want to give you their time. And I hate to use an analogy like that, but it's got to resonate. It's got to stick. And I hope you can walk away with that. If you're not going to do anything about the crime, no one's going to want to give you their time. With their time comes their money. With their money comes buying houses, comes going to the store and buying produce and buying things around to support those businesses around those houses. You got to start with the crime. Deal with the crime and virtually things start to fall in place. And yeah, it's not going to look good. And yeah, we need to stop it with this rhetoric about the disproportionality about who gets arrested more than the other. This whole blame shift has led to this demise that we are seeing today. All we have to do is saying, hey, why are these people getting arrested? Hey, maybe is there something about us we need to change? We're going to get into that topic in the TikTok Madness segment. You stick around.
Bail reform and those kind of things. So it's a death circle. It's a deadly circle for anyone who's caught in that, trying to get out as fast as they can. Again, 100% increase in supply. People are putting their homes on the market and they're trying to get out of there.
Yeah, so you add in the nationwide drop in housing prices, right, because of rising interest rates, and then you add in these unique problems to the
And speaking of rising interest rate, the Feds just raised the interest rate even more. This is going to it's just going to feel like the walls are closing in on us. That $1,000 used to mean a lot more yesterday, but now it just lost a couple of 100 points in just its value. Right now, I used to be able to walk out of the supermarket with 4 bags. Today, I'm walking out with 2. That resonates with most, if not all, Americans. And if we can't see that, and if we can't come to consensus on that to say, hey, if it ain't a Republican, at least a moderate or true moderate Democrat who has some sense in leading this country, because right now, this is not working.
West Coast, well, at least for Seattle and San Francisco, of crime and local work issues. Now,
but it is a problem for all of America, Will. Make no mistake about it. I just want everyone to know that this is really insidious. The average mortgage is now $2,400. 1 year ago, it was $1,600. The average house a year ago was $400,000.
How? Just listen to that. It's $2,400. The average mortgage is $2,400 today, but a year ago, just 1 year, who could survive that? Who could survive that shift? A year ago it was $1,600. Like, that's a major increase, right? This is just telling me that this doesn't work. If it's becoming too hard on us to live our daily lives, then does rhetoric matter at this point? Does rhetoric matter, or do I need practicality so I feel more strong? People under Donald Trump, hate it or love it, were feeling strong here in America. They were starting to have some financial security. I, for one, anecdotally have experienced that. So I just having a hard time with picking rhetoric over practicality. So let's see.
Now it's 547,000. Most Americans have been shut out, completely shut out of the American dream. And the sad part about it, it didn't have to happen.
Speaking of things, affecting people nationwide when it.
And this is what a lot of conservatives say. So we have to now test their mustard. He just said it didn't have to happen. I don't know if you guys know, but Trump also said that. This economy didn't have to go this way. Larry Kudlow, the financial advisor to the Trump administration, current guy who's also not only have a radio show on WABC 770, but also has a segment here on Fox, has also said it didn't have to happen. Tom Sowell has illustrated this and on Twitter. He doesn't tweet directly himself. He has somebody managing his tweets. However, he said that the economy didn't have to go this direction, right? We were on what Larry Kudlow has argued and still argues today on a V-shaped recovery, not a long U-shaped recovery. We were on a V-shaped recovery. When we go up and then Biden comes in, we go back down. Why is that? Because of the rhetoric, because of the policies, because of the executive orders, because of your attention to where you want to go and where you want to strong arm this country towards climate change, then want to send all these billions of dollars to Ukraine. Zelensky is still arguing for American support. I mean, it is incredible what's going on here. It's incredible. And so I say, test the mustard, look for yourselves, peel your eyes back and say, hey, did it have to be this way? You hear a lot of Democrats blaming COVID. You hear a lot of Democrats blaming Russia. If you listen to ACLJ, the Sekulow family, they said it in a video not too long ago, almost about, I want to say 7-8 months ago, that despite the war in the war in Ukraine and the gas increases, the slight increases from where we started when Trump left, the gas should have been never peaked over $3, despite the war and despite COVID. So why did it go way above that to nearly peaking at $6 a gallon? That's because of failed, incompetent policies by this current administration. And you have to say that and drive that home, because when you do, money talks. What? Bullshit walks. We all know that.
When it comes to the economy, it's a staggering stat that's come out where under Joe Biden's presidency now, people have lost $4,200 in annual income. Charles, so what we're looking at here is a combination.
And that's just value. $4,200 in value, meaning maybe your $4,200 meant something the year prior, but today, virtually nothing.
Of inflation erasing wage gains, general declines in the stock market, everything just erasing. And by the way, erasing gains that were made during the Trump presidency when we were up $4,000 in annual income.
Yeah. Here's the thing. President Biden gets the campaign on what we call nominal numbers. You can say, hey, the GDP was up 6%. Everybody watching this show, we live with real numbers. What are real numbers? They are adjusted for inflation. Ever since that $1.9 trillion boondoggle was pushed through, we have had negative wages every single month since then. So 18, 19 months of negative wages, that loses you $3,000 in purchasing power. And now, because of that inflation, they have to ratchet up interest rates. So that interest rates are going up and cost to borrow money going up, that's another $1,200. The average American's lost $4,200 in real life. Now, the president's going to tell you, hey, this has happened and that has happened on paper. In real life, again, and this is what I always tell people, the easiest way to understand this, you may make $1,000 if I give you $1,200, you go in the store and come out with fewer bags, you know you lost in this equation. Here's the sad part, Will. You look at the stock market this week, you look at what the federal Reserve is being forced to do, this is going to get a whole lot worse. And sadly, President Biden's going to stoke the flames of inflation with that student loan college thing. He's going to give the most fortunate Americans a gift in the so-called Inflation Reduction Act. So this is not going away. This is classic stagflation, an economy that's going down as inflation is going up or remains persistently high. It is the worst possible combination, and the average American is going to feel it in their gut, their wallet, and everything else in their life. It's going to affect your psyche. We're going to lose jobs, at least 1 million jobs. We're going down a dangerous path, and it's unfortunate that it was all done out of politics.
That's a hurtful message.
Yeah, it's a hurtful message for all of us, and we're all going to feel it. And this is the time for us to come together and support one another, especially when we're providing good content and just having this conversation, because the media is not going to be closely connected to you like we have here on the Morning Fix. On the Morning Fix, we have a nice, tight-knit group here, and that group is growing bigger and bigger by the day. And now I see us coming together and helping each other out during hard times, not only supporting the show, but also supporting each other. The other day, I was reached out to by a person that says, hey, because of you and your show, I was able to meet so-and-so, and we are now together, thanks to you. Well, that means a lot to me, because that not only shows relationally people coming together, but people are also coming together because they feel that this is a great place to not only have the hard conversations, but also to build long-lasting friendships. So if you're just tuning in on the Morning Fix Live radio show, that's what we do here. We build relationships that last long. See you in a minute. We'll be right back. We have much more to cover here, including Sports Hour. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, we're back here on the Morning Fix Live radio show. Happy Monday to you all. It is 10:45 Eastern Standard Time here on the Morning Fix in New York City, 66 degrees here. They say that MAGA is a threat to democracy, then I don't know what this is. This conversation that I see from this guy, I've seen him say some very insidious things, some very nefarious stuff. And quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised in the future they start to mute this guy because he is very, very dangerous and very toxic. Here he is on Alex Cross. I think it's no, excuse me, Tiffany Cross. There is a Alex Cross, but not this one. Tiffany Cross on her show. This is what this person had to say about Republicans. We've heard this time and time again.
So we were talking during the break, and you said that you think the Dems are weak on this. This is my challenge. I'm watching the men. It's been clear multiple men broke the law.
Right.
We've seen rank and file Proud Boys get carted off. I want to know when we're going to see these folks who are active elected members of Congress, people who were elected to the White House, Donald Trump, and all the people around him who clearly broke the law. When are we going to see them face consequences?
You're probably going to be waiting for a very long time because Dems sort of operate as if there are rules, as if there's a protocol to this. Republicans do not. You have to just totally broaden this thing. You take January.
What do you mean about that they operate as if the Republicans run by rules? Look, they all run by rules, Republican and Democrat. We're clear on that. Okay, let's be very clear. This rhetoric this man spews is absolutely egregious. If a MAGA is a threat to democracy, what Ronald Martin speaks about in terms of his indictment towards the police, his anti-police rhetoric does more harm to the black community than good. So what is that? That's a direct threat to our lives. Because when we live in the inner city of New York City and Chicago and Baltimore and Philadelphia and places like Washington and Tacoma, Washington, Kings County, Washington, have you guys been there? Has anyone been to certain areas of Portland? Yeah, Portland, a nice place of Portland. Have you seen what it looks like there? Southern Los Angeles, areas like in Arizona, down in Phoenix, New Mexico, Juarez. We got Juarez, Mexico. Have you guys ever been around there? It's just on the border of Texas and New Mexico. Terrible, terrible areas. And without the police doing their jobs, without them putting their lives on the line, people like you and me wouldn't be able to have the kind of safety, wouldn't be able to have the understanding that even though I don't like you or you don't like me, or maybe you might be a danger or maybe I might be a danger to you, they neutralize that. And also, us being able to protect ourselves should be able to neutralize that. But there you go. The libs got a hand on that.
6, you take this committee, you take the Supreme Court rulings to understand what the Republican Party is doing. This is all part of the plan. And Democrats are acting as if, they're sort of sitting back, and as Joe Morton said on Scandal, there are bombs going around you and you walk around like you're in a field of daisies. You have to operate as if you were in a war. And that is what's going on here.
But MAGA is the threat to democracy. You need to operate like you're in a war. But MAGA is a threat to democracy.
And as I watch these members of Congress complain about Supreme Court ruling, okay, what are you now going to do? I agree with protest, but are you protesting? Are you doing data collection? Who's showing up? Are you getting names and addresses? How are you pushing people? If you are a Democrat right now.
What do you need addresses for, Mr. Martin? That's a serious, see, this is what I'm talking about. I don't see anybody in conservative circles asking for people's addresses. They, of all people, know not to play around. It's called the F around and find out. You guys know that, right? They know firsthand not to play around with that stuff. Because they, too, if their address is revealed and you come knocking, well, you might be greeted with something that you don't want to be greeted with.
Now, you should be saying you got to elect Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin, Ryan in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, Beasley in North Carolina, Demings in Florida. You got to go hard and put money with Booker in Kentucky, Chambers in Louisiana. But they're not doing that. They're still playing a different game.
It went from war to political rhetoric. That's what's typical about these really far lefters, right? It goes from being aggressive, it sounds physical, but then it goes into a place of, no, that's just banter and rhetoric. So it's like, well, then calm your rhetoric down. There's no need for it to get that aggressive, right? I understand that you guys are intimidated by this MAGA movement, but it's here. Nonetheless, it's here, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think a lot of these folks are having a hard time, especially the New York Times, where they had a very, very weird coverage. It's one of those, let's get one of these very creative guys. He's been doing this a while with New York Times and creating a good visual description of how MAGA is a threat to democracy. Check this out right here.
I want to pay my attention.
But this is what should really tick you off and scare the holy living out of you. It has less to do with controlling who can vote and everything to do with who decides which votes actually count.
And this is where Michelle pointed me in a different direction, away from fixating on voter suppression, and instead encouraging me to look deeper into the very plumbing of the American voting system.
I mean, with this same energy that they put into look deeper into how MAGA Trump did this, they could use that same energy to investigate what nefarious deeds were conducted during this election day, during this election cycle. I mean, one can't go without the other. You could have the criticism and the fear of saying, hey, stop putting seeds of doubt, or say, why do so many Americans, it can't just be what Donald Trump said. He could say whatever. Are you really willing to concede that 80 million, nearly 80 million people just believe what a man says? This is America we're talking about here. I've never seen in my entire 34 years of life that when one man says it, therefore everyone believes it. I've never seen that before. There's usually some kind of infighting. There's usually, well, no, maybe not. Oh, no. Why don't we concede that there wasn't anything going on in 2020? No, they're unanimous on this. They're asking questions. They're saying, hey, have you used this same energy, this same creative skill to look into the 2020 election? I mean, come on, give me a break.
Space that most of us have never really looked at. So welcome to our incredibly decentralized voting system in America.
Decentralized.
It's where you vote. It's where your votes are counted. It's the poll workers and precinct officers and county commissioners and election boards and secretaries of state that certify results. Most of us don't know anything about this, because honestly, most of us want this version of politics.
The 2020 race is revving up.
Wow! Bring it on!
But it's down here where the votes are cast, where they are totaled, where we meet the people
It's also down there where they get the least amount of money and support.
Who count those votes. The government officials you've never thought about. A county clerk in New Mexico, a precinct officer in Michigan, a secretary of state in Nevada. And no, not that secretary of state. Every state has a secretary of state, and it is way less sexy than international diplomacy. But yeah.
And I know this may look trivial, but again, we can't assume everyone's IQ when it comes to understanding the electoral fabric of our country. A lot of people say, well, let's get rid of the electoral college. Well, that's a very provocative term. Why? Well, they don't really even know the electoral fabric and the functionality of our government. They don't even know this stuff. So credit to New York Times for doing this. But the problem is the conclusion you're going to see here is how do we get to one man and then all of a sudden, all of us just blindly believe him? Either you reject him or you believe him, but there's no skeptics. It's kind of concerning to me.
Yeah, according to Michelle, this is where the action is, where the real assault on our democracy is happening.
Trump's great gift as a top-notch demagogue is getting people fired up to believe whatever he tells them is true. That gets really dark really quickly.
If you want to understand it, you're going to have to stick with me as we dive into this system. Because it's this system that is being infiltrated by an army of Trump-supporting Americans to
But why is it only Trump-supporting Americans? For them to, right now, currently, but they don't tell you, excuse me, let me take it back a few steps. How come they don't start where the Democrats were trying to change election laws months prior, where Donald Trump, during COVID presentations, during the times in which he was talking to the general public and giving a press conference on what they're doing in the task force and what they're up to and how they're investigating, Donald Trump mentioned how they're trying to finagle things. He mentioned it. And what they said, what did they say? Oh, he's over exaggerating. What is he talking about? Why don't they go back to when Republicans were fighting Democrats in court over this months prior? So Democrats were already making changes. They were the ones doing this stuff. And now that the Trump supporters, the MAGA supporters, want to now change it, now you have people like Christina Calarno, who is running for what? State secretary in Michigan. So you have this happening, and now all of a sudden it's a problem. But the state secretaries who ran, what do you think they ran for prior? The Democrat state secretaries, what do you think they ran for? And what do you think they utilized their platform for? To change election laws. I had a person ask me the other day, the state secretary is part of the legislator. Who told you that? Again, we can't assume the IQ of these people anymore. We have to explain as if we're going back to school and, so to speak, mansplain to people, for the lack of better words, because these kids, these people don't know the electoral fabric of our country.
Rigged the system that they believe was rigged against them in 2020.
Biden's lead over 1,000 now.
The new direction of the Republican Party has to do with what Trump and his allies failed to do in 2020. Trump claimed fraud and immediately cobbled together dozens of lawsuits to challenge the vote.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
Was there any real evidence of widespread voter fraud that these lawsuits were based on?
No, absolutely not. These were completely absurd claims, and pretty much all of them got immediately tossed out. And while he did not succeed...
And that's why I have a hard time listening to these people, because what got tossed out? Right? That's what I would ask if I was interviewing her. What exactly got tossed out? You're saying it got tossed out. What got tossed out? Oh, their claims. What claims? On what? On what principle? And on what standing did it get tossed out? Was it dismissed because of the credibility of the evidence, or was it dismissed on standing? They're two different things. And so how come that never gets asked? The public should know, and that people that I've had discussions with on TikTok should know, that when they say, well, Trump argued this in court. Really? Name me one trial that he argued it in court. He did not argue it in court. Most of his lawyers didn't get a chance to get through the door. They presented their case, they wrote an amicus brief, and next thing you know, they were told you're dismissed because, hey, you're too early with these claims or you're too late with these claims. There was a window in time in which the judges were playing this game, and it's okay. It is what it is. The point of the matter now is people have learned the truth. People now know that the Wisconsin election had some very strong vulnerabilities in which they tossed out some votes. The Michigan election had some very strong vulnerabilities in which what? We already have documentation of the state legislator, the state secretary, doctored some votes that they had to now toss out 15,000 votes. 15,000. Think about that, folks. And this happened the same thing. There's no, these two places are no outlier. You had that happen in Philadelphia. You had that happen in Maricopa County in Arizona. Again, why are they denying this and not looking into it is beyond me. And again, I understand that they support the liberal side of our country, but you can't continue to fan the flames right in front of and just gaslight us to say, we don't know what we're looking at. You're just believing what a man told you and you're taking it as Bible. Well, the argument could be said for you. You guys are just taking what they say as Bible, and that's that. So now we're clashing instead of meeting the people in the middle. Instead of, hey, this is a very intense election. There's a lot of questions we have to answer, and let's get to the bottom of this so that in future elections, this doesn't happen again. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I don't understand why they can't just meet Americans in the middle. They would have had a lot more, I guess, compliance than what they do now. And here's a very serious election along with New York's election. But I have my doubts about the New York election. But I really do believe that this governor in this Tudor Dixon running for Michigan governorship, I think she really has a shot against Gretchen Whitmer, because the people of Michigan are sick and tired and did not like her COVID policies. Here's her sit down the other day.
Into politics, and you enter at a pretty big stage. It was an interesting primary, to say the least. And it has been a pretty involved race already, with obviously the folks that would support Governor Whitmer and oppose you have been very vocal on the airwaves, and they've been out there a lot. How does this differ from what you might have expected?
You know, I don't know that it differs that much from what I was expecting. I think it's interesting because you really are seeing that Republicans are the party of the working person. You see
That's
that
right.
the Democrats are the party of elitists. They have massive money coming in from across the country. And we've run a grassroots and plus a campaign where we've had a modest amount of advertising that we've done. We were able to win the primary that way, really with a grassroots campaign. And I think that the key takeaway here is that it's not the amount of money you have, it's the message that you're putting out. And that's why
I think it should always have been that way, but I think the reason why Republicans are pushing back now about said money that is being put in campaigns is because the more money people put into campaigns, the more awareness they are, the more ads they get to run, the more you get to see their names. So obviously, hey, they're making more of a difference, or they're making more noise. So they're threading the needle on that voting and who's going to be pulling the lever for who. But now it is about the message. What she just said there, literally a person, a state representative in Jersey, won an election against a person who's been sitting in office in New Jersey for years, almost decades, put millions of dollars into their campaign, and he just won it with $250. His message was simple. He was a working class man in New Jersey. He rode his bike. He was like an everyday man, a regular person. He didn't even wear a suit, almost like a Fetterman. But the difference is he wasn't radical. He simply was just like, I don't like the direction of where our country is going. And he won that election with just $250. It was the message that resonated with people. And I think we ought to start listening to that message. All right, let's get into some TikTok madness before we get into the sports hour. Let's check out TikTok madness real quick, guys.
Out of the car. I did not do anything wrong.
I'm giving you a direct order to step out of the car. I wanted to use this guy's video for a little bit of education because it is the perfect video to use for a little bit of education. In his caption, he says, "Know your rights." He doesn't know his rights. So in his video, he claims that he was pulled over for a traffic infraction. That's a lawful stop. On a lawful traffic stop, you have to provide ID. If you do not provide ID, that is resisting. Since he is resisting, she now asks him to step out of the car, which she can do because it's a lawful traffic stop. If you don't believe me, go look up Pennsylvania v. Mims. That's case law that allows officers to get you out of your car if it's a lawful traffic stop. It does not matter what the stop was for as long as it's legal. And that brings us back to him not getting out of the car, which is also resisting. There are thousands of likes on his video, which shows me that a lot of you guys agree with him, which is scary because it's just gonna get you in trouble. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but it is better to just comply, even if you don't agree with the stop, and fight it later, than resist, potentially fight back, and catch a couple more charges. Everything this woman did was well within the rights that she has legally, and you're arguing with her and recording her and posting it on the internet, and you look good.
All right, so here we go. Let's cover that real quick. I agree with her 100%. Why I agree with her? Because it's better to fight your case in court than to fight your case on the street. This cop is just doing a job, stopping you whether you agree with it or not. And instead, what do you got people to do? What are they trained to do? Instead of putting their hands on the wheel, giving their license and registration, you have a person now pulling out their phone, hoping to be the next big George Floyd. Again, when things like this become incentivized, this is kind of the actions and behaviors you're going to get. It's very tough to be a cop before. It's even tougher today. Because again, now if you're going to put cuffs on someone, doesn't matter your race. You're either a black person doing your bidding for the white man, and you're a white person, you're a racist. And now all you're trying to do is stop me from living my free life. I didn't break the law. I didn't do anything wrong. I don't have to step out the car. No, I'm making a legal and lawful traffic stop. Therefore, you are now resisting even giving me your license and registration. I can pull you out of the car off reasonable suspicion and off that case law. And she's absolutely right. And this is what Larry Elder famously say, comply and you won't die. And people don't like it. They hate it, but it is the truth. And a lot of young black men would be alive today if they did just that. If they listened to people like Larry Elder, comply and you won't die. Let's go back to more TikTok madness here.
Of all people is not complaining about fucking inflation. I gotta sit down for this rant. First of all, bitch. First of all, you the one who pushed Joe Biden on the American people, especially the black people and Hispanic people. You did that shit. You the one who got on your lives supporting this racist son of a bitch. You the one sitting up there talking about jail reform, jail reform. You know the president that you supported, that they paid you to support, and that you fucking screamed everything for was a racist and backed the 3-strike law and wanted black men to be murdered in jail. Did you not know that? Bitch, shut up. Shut up. You done said enough. All right? You're in the first stages of your Little Kim phase where your whole face is starting to look like Little Kim. So you need to stop talking about politics, period.
Some people just have to hear this. This is 100% accurate. Some people just shouldn't talk politics, especially people like Cardi B. Go ahead, sister.
Stick to pussy songs. Stick to songs about your pussy. Okay? That's what you're good at. Other than that, politics, if you say one more motherfucking word, shut it.
All right, for context on this video, courtesy to Keisha sending me this, this special creator said they blame Democrats for inflation, but somehow this is their top priority.
But on that very first day that we're sworn in, you'll see that it all changes. Because on our very first bill, we're going to repeal 87,000 IRS agents.
Damn right, that's our top priority. We'll be back in a moment, folks, with the Sports Hour. I was reminded so graciously by AJ behind the scenes that we still have the promo saying the merch will be dropped on the 15th. It's already out. We're going to clean that up and fix that up for you guys. You guys can get your t-shirt and your mug on ajsrantroom.com. It is out now, and it's out only for a limited time. I'm not sure exactly where we are on that time frame. AJ handles all of that stuff, but it is out now. You can get your t-shirt and your coffee mug right now. And without further ado, let's get to the Sports Hour here on the Morning Fix. All right, we are here. Yeah, I have a couple of clips here. It was this kind of Sunday yesterday, and it was this kind of Sunday for some people. So let's start with this first clip.
Chase Davis on the beat, yeah.
Put that shit on. Put that shit on. Put that shit on. Put that shit on.
For some people, it was a Sunday like that. Do your dance. And for some people, it was a Sunday like this. boy. Oh boy. And that last clip there, I don't know. I got cut off there on that last one, but the butt fumble. Mark Sanchez saw that one of the punters kicked into someone's butt and had a thing to do to say, "Hey, stay in your lane." That's what he said, something like that. That was hilarious. What kind of Sunday was it, AJ? What kind of Sunday was it?
Yo, it wasn't a very high scoring Sunday, but there were some great matchups. There were some surprising matchups. Definitely got to talk about Tua. Definitely got to talk about Trevor Lawrence. But it was definitely an exciting Sunday and a lot of questions. And why the Eagles had to beat up Carson Wentz like that? It was beautiful.
It was
beautiful.
I think that one, I wasn't sold. My buddy was telling me that Jalen Hurts, he's like, yo, he's a good quarterback, man. And I'm like, really? You think so? He's just this running guy. And I just see him just throwing the ball yesterday. I'm like,
right.
What? Who is this guy?
Right. Yeah, I have to put him in that same group with Tua and Trevor. Because everyone pretty much counted them out. And they were like, oh, no, we ain't done. Hold on. But
we here.
We right here. We right here. We gonna do this. What? Oh man.
All right. So something happened with Tua yesterday that is kind of causing some rumblings around the league. What happened?
So it was a dirty hit. And so he hits the back of his head on the turf. He gets up and the teammates, around him are like, whoa, you don't look good. And so he tries to walk, he stumbles again, and then obviously the medical people come over. And of course, we think he's out. We think he's concussed. We're like, he's out. He's clearly not coming back.
What if you were an apparel company facing an avalanche of demand? So you call IBM to automate your IT infrastructure. And now your e-commerce platform can handle spikes in orders. Let's create IT systems that roll up their own.
I think it's an ad.
IBM.
Who knows?
Let's create.
Oh, the little show that could.
I got it. It was an ad running. That's weird. Sorry.
Man. And Tua's back out there and like.
Unbelievable. That ball popped up in the air. Luckily for the Dolphins, it went out the back of the end zone. I'm not so sure you don't want that ball to get off because it wasn't going to go anywhere. And if that ball gets off, then you got better field position.
I'm looking at you like, what just happened here? All right. So I saw clearly Tua shouldn't been back out there. I don't know what you think.
The experience of driving a new Mazda from Ramsey Mazda, like the new Mazda CX-5. It has the tech, space, and power you want, or save with a great selection of certified pre-owned Mazda models. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda.
I mean, for the most part. But he didn't look like, the couple of weeks that he did look like prior. I mean, look at some of these numbers here, AJ. He threw for 186 yards, which is, to be honest, is understandable. He's facing one of the biggest strongest defenses in the league. What went wrong in this game?
Nothing. I mean, there wasn't a bad performance on either side of the ball. This just literally just came down to may the best man win in this moment. And you could tell there's nothing but love between them, between Josh Allen and Tua. They literally, had a little moment after the game, talking to each other, whatever. It was literally the best man, may the best man win, may the best man take it. And the NFL Players Association is actually looking into why the hell Tua got back out on that field. Facts. And, and obviously they're going to find out they lied about something because they said it was his back. And it was like, bro, anybody looking at that man wobble the way he was wobbling knows that was not his back.
No, damn right it was not his back.
He was clear. It's like,
that dude was.
And I know what it is because when you're a competitor and you're on a hot streak, you don't want nothing's gonna break that streak. Y'all get me back out there. So I know that whole comment. I know it was a lot of yelling, a lot of cursing, a lot of screaming, but I'm getting back out. I don't fuck what y'all say. I'm going back out there. So give me a moment, give me a shot, shoot something in me, but I'm getting the fuck back out there.
Yeah, it's that competitive nature in him.
And it wasn't in vain. So he pulled off the W. But yeah, the whole concussion protocol is a great thing, but at the same time, if the dude willfully put something in the contract, if he willfully takes his ass back out there, go ahead. It's on him.
Yeah, facts. The Patriots once again lose and lose badly. Is this a sign that the Patriots are their whole thing, their whole aura, the Bill Belichick days are done?
Belichick don't want another Super Bowl. Belichick has done everything he needed to do. Belichick at this point is on like cruise control. He don't care. He's like, I've done everything. I mean, you can tell like players are critiquing the offense on social media. That never happened before in the Patriot system. Players were always tight-lipped. Whatever was going on in that franchise, you did not know about it until they left the franchise, but you did not know while they were actively playing in the franchise. So Belichick is clearly like, look, I'm just setting y'all up, so y'all could be good. I'm about to get the hell out of here. It's about over for me. Mac Jones is, he's okay. I'm still not sold on him. Maybe he'll have a year 3, year 4. I don't know, but I'm still not sold on him. But the bigger thing I want to say about this, which is what I said last week, stop acting like Lamar Jackson is doing a great job against great teams. They get on my damn nerves. And I have a cousin. He is like the biggest Ravens fan. And every DM is insulting Russell Wilson and insulting Geno Smith. And I'm like, bro, this has nothing to do with those quarterbacks and everything to do with the fact that every time y'all play garbage teams and he puts up all these great numbers, we're ready for him. He does not win when it matters. And
No,
I
he
wish
doesn't.
he does not win when it matters. When you actually are in the playoffs, and ain't no scrub team in the playoffs, period. You might have one in the wild card, but once you get past that, no one's a scrub. So it's like win when it matters, and I'll give you all your props. But all it is, he threw for 5 billion yards and 10 touchdowns. It's the Patriots. It's a Patriots where clearly the head coach is like, yo, I'm on my way out the door. I done built my legacy. I'm going to get my jacket on the first run. I'm good. So if we know all this already, what the hell are we sitting here talking about? Lamar Jackson's a god. He's great. He's okay. He's good until he wins. Until I will give Lamar his props when he has a deep playoff run. And he don't even have to win the Super Bowl, but he has to appear in it. If you don't get that far, I'm good. We good.
I mean, just some level of consistency, though. Like, not lightning in a bottle and make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, even Colin Kaepernick had that, right? But it's just that consistency. Can he be consistent, AJ? And I just can't see that out of him. He doesn't make good decisions with the ball. And when in doubt, he runs with his legs. When in doubt.
And that right there, I mean, the fact that you took your 5th-year option, you didn't take the deal they were offering you. This is really not the time to be taking these risks, bro. But whatever. But I understand why he's doing it, because he wants what they were going to offer him and probably 60% more. I get it. It's a money thing. But nah, Lamar, you're not that dude for me. But glad you have fans. Glad you're successful.
So Jason Whitlock said, in talking about this game, he said friction between Mahomes and the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs is a byproduct of having a ceremonial OC. Too many cooks in the kitchen. Andy's offense doesn't need a middleman. Put the offensive coordinator in a difficult spot, makes him a target for Mahomes' frustration. Do you agree with Whitlock's assessment there?
Ooh, that I couldn't figure that's it, right? I mean, the tantrum was epic, but I was like, this is gonna be memed to death.
Facts. Absolute
That's
facts.
the time we're in, because I'm actually glad to see people be humans on the job. I'm glad people are like saying, hey, look, I'm mad, and throw the headset, throw the papers, throw everything. Because before you have to sit there and hold your tongue and be nice and have decorum and talk to the people and be nice, and then behind the scenes you talk all your shit. But no, I'm glad he went right to it. He was like, in this moment, this is what I feel, and this is how I'm gonna react. Yeah, it's the man's being set up. and clearly it's a lot of miscommunication, and you can see it. It manifests on the field. Once you see Patrick Mahomes making dumb mistakes, but this game did not come down to Patrick Mahomes. He didn't perform the best, but he did have a high QBR this week. But it came down to what is the defensive player's name? Chris Williams, Chris something. But Chris decides on a 3 and 8 or something that he's gonna get a penalty, which gave the Colts a 1st and 10. And so now you pretty much handed them the game. I was like if they have a good coach, they know how to work this and make it work and how to keep y'all off the field. And that's exactly what the hell they did. And then you came back. Everyone thought it was going to be like the comeback versus Josh Allen, the playoff game, one of the best playoff games ever. And it was like, oh, yeah, Mahomes is going to cook it up, Pick.
Facts.
I was like, yo, this is whack.
I just could not believe seeing that. I was like, how the hell did the Chiefs lose? And I saw it. I was like, oh, unbelievable.
And I know there was a lot of screaming.
This is not a game they should have lost. I tell you, they're gonna look back and they're gonna say we shouldn't have lost that game.
That was an away game too, right?
Yeah.
So, oh no. So we gotta go back home together. Oh hell no. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll stand behind. Give me some strippers tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Here's what Mahomes said in the post game. Here's some of that thoughts right there.
That's just who I am. We were in a tough situation. I believe it was like 2nd or 3rd and 20 or something like that. And probably the smart decision was to just take it. We got the ball at a half. Let's just go to halftime. But I'm always gonna be wanting to score. And I mean, I pretty much just said, let me have a chance at it. And then he was just like, let's get back in the locker room and we'll get something going for the next half. And I guess I don't know if that's an altercation, but I mean that was the end of the conversation.
Sarah.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of what
that's not
his
all
feedback was.
That was an altercation, and he's just trying to downplay it. Yeah, like first of all, we've all been in competitive situations. Like no one's being civil, especially when this starts to happen. Everyone's like you saying it like you mean it, right to the gut. You don't care. And so it's like, no, y'all not. Yeah, well, I think we should go back out there and have a little more fun. And I kind of disagree with you, Patrick. No, that's not how it went. Y'all were yelling, y'all were screaming, spit was flying in each other's face, and then y'all decided just to go to the half.
Yeah, it's just a strange game overall for Mr. Mahomes. 262, 1 TD, 1 interception. It's just a strange game. I mean, the Colts does not have the best defense in the league or even a subpar defense in the league. So the Chiefs definitely lost this one, and they're going to regret this in the future. But, hey, I'm glad for Matt Ryan. I've never been a Matt Ryan denier. I like him. When he's had receivers, the guy is lights out. But the problem is, I mean, I don't think he's ever been able to recover after that freaking debacle.
I mean,
in the Super Bowl.
Would you? I never would have. I mean, I was like, this team, like,
he just doesn't look happy anymore about it. It's like, I hate my life.
That's a stain on his legacy. Like,
pretty bad.
328. Like, that's forever a meme. 328. You are never going to get away from that, no matter what you do.
It's the worst. I'm sure he loses sleep over it. I'm sure it's not a conversation that's brought up in the family. I'll tell you that much. We were talking about it earlier about this Philadelphia Commanders game. If they do not do something about this offensive line for Washington, Carson Wentz is going to have a short season. I'm saying that right now.
No. Let's be very, very clear. In the first 2 games, he was not getting beat up like this. Now, some people got to him, but not. And not only did you get sacked, you were hit 17 times. That's not a football game. That's a vendetta.
Yeah.
So no matter what
O-line
did, no matter how well they played or didn't play, he was going to get fucked up. Period. That's it. It was that was personal. That wasn't football. That was personal. That man said something on the way out the door that pissed all them people off. And they were like, oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay, we got you. And sure enough, they tore that man up, and it was beautiful to watch.
Pacheco? Who's Pacheco? What y'all think about Pacheco, the son of my friend?
I don't know who Pacheco is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Eric, you would have to explain that one to us. Sorry that we don't understand. Jalen Hurts looks great. What one question that someone said, if you would ever told me that Philadelphia, the Giants, and I forgot one other team is 3-0?
Jaguars? No, not
Jaguars?
the Jaguars. No, not the Jaguars.
Which team was it?
Jesus. My head's blowing right now. Hold on. The Dolphins.
The Dolphins, the Jaguar, no, the Dolphins, Philadelphia, and the Giants would be 3-0. People would probably be laughing at us right now, especially the Giants and yeah, you see Ted's on it, Miami. But yeah,
I love when I see when you see that player break out for that, that breakout year when they start like a little, you're like, I don't know about you, and then it's like, oh, and it's just like there's something magical about that moment when they break, and you're like, okay, I see you. And so it's like, and Trevor Lawrence was one of the last people, but we talking about Jalen Hurts.
Chiefs rookie running back is Pacheco. I haven't seen him enough. Sorry, Eric.
I
know.
I don't have enough of a sample size to make commentary on him, but I'll look him up. Pacheco.
I would say that Jalen Hurts has been consistent, and he's been putting up consistent numbers. He's been careful with the ball. I could see why Philadelphia went with him. He's not your Lance. He's not your Fields. He's not. Again, I would even go as far as say he's not even a Zach Wilson. I mean, this guy can run with his legs, can throw with his arms, and he's pretty accurate. He's pretty careful with the ball. And I like him. I like everything about him right now. He's doing the right things. He's not with the Jets. He's not with the Jets.
I think Nacho's the only person with the Jets. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm the only one. Yeah, what a shame. Not surprised about this. I was surprised at how tight this game was, the Lions and the Vikings. But let's get to your team really quickly here. Actually, I mean, in the spirit of always talking shit, let's look at Kyler Murray here.
Oh God, that was.
All right, look, I will say this. 314 yards, and he couldn't throw a touchdown. Look at his QBR though. I mean, how was it so low? Oh, 37 for 58.
37 for 58. That's why.
That's gross.
Man.
I mean, this is just I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe they don't have the best offensive scheme. And also, I'd make the argument, good morning, Mandy. I'd also make the argument that he is just not the guy either.
Well, Arizona knew he wasn't the guy. I mean, let's keep it a buck. I don't understand where we sort of have these kid gloves on because it's a black quarterback. Yeah, I said it. So we don't want the optics of what this will look like if we cut him and what they're going to say. Who gives a fuck what they say? Is this good for business? It's not about the race of the quarterback. Is the quarterback working? If he's not working, why pay this man? And then when you add the clause to the contract, because this man is not doing his film study, he's not. He just wants to go out there and play junk ball. Not for the amount of money you asking for. We need you to be prepared. At least show up with some of the damn report read. Oh, it's a race thing. They're always questioning the IQ of the black quarterback. They're not questioning the IQ of the black quarterback. They're questioning the IQ of this motherfucker because we're about to pay you, and we know you're not doing your part to help the team win.
And historically speaking,
add a cultural track to make sure, and even what they were asking, what the amount of hours they were asking for wasn't even that much. So it was like they got to commit 30 weeks to film study. And we know you're not is, but it's cool. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm just saying, like, in hearing all of that nonsense and that junk, listen, if he gets all that kind of money and there's some stipulations with it, what is he complaining about? What is anyone complaining about, man? They're paying this man. And historically speaking, the Arizona Cardinals have never paid anybody this amount of money before. So of course they're gonna have their restraints. And should we? Are we putting too much in one basket? You know?
Right. And here's the
So
bigger
I'm
point.
just saying.
And here's the bigger point. He has a smart agent. Kyler Murray didn't just, sign, make the deal himself. He has a good agent who clearly read through every line and every nook and cranny of that contract, and you still signed it with that provision. So it wasn't like you said, okay, well, what's this about? And then said, well, take that out. The agent could have easily just said that, take that out. We're not gonna do that, and then y'all could have worked it out from there. But you still signed the contract with that stipulation, and then fed it to the media because everything has to be fed through a racial lens. And so now we're gonna feed it through the media. No, we don't have this, the shortest quarterback in the league. Clearly, when you're that small and stat, your body isn't built to be beat up like that. And so when you think about bigger picture, he is not the dude. Like, he's a small guy. He's okay for what he does, but he is not your guy long term. But y'all made that mistake.
He probably would have made. He probably would have made a great flea flicker running back option.
True.
Right, like back in like maybe run a couple of those. Hey, I got this guy. Boom, he's there sitting back. Give him some time and space. Maybe
Exactly.
That would have been nice.
That
Here's your game here. I look. As much as I don't like Geno, 325 yards. He threw 325 yards, 2 TDs. Yeah, he didn't do that for the Jets. I'll tell you that much. But he threw for look at that interception. He still didn't win. Yeah, I mean, and against a Atlanta defense that's pretty bad. I mean, he could have had his easy pickings and had a good time with them, but
still didn't win.
I mean, why? I can't believe that this guy is still playing pro football. Marcus Mariota. Why is he still in the league?
Look, I mean, y'all said, I don't know much about him, but y'all said he was a scrub. And so I'm looking at this scrub play and I'm like, you don't look that bad. Like, he's pretty much, it was the tale of two bad teams. And it's just like, okay, which bad team is going to get the score today? Like, which bad team is going to pull off the W? And that's basically what it was. And so Geno was Geno-ing, and this Mario, I mean, I'm not going to follow the dude, but
Geno was Geno-ing.
But it was just the penalties. I mean, the call.
On what side of the ball?
On the offensive
on what
side.
The offensive side.
Yeah. So, I mean, everything. I mean, it was pretty much our game to lose. I mean, the Falcons aren't a great team. We're not a great team. So it was like, okay, whoever. But I would have liked that W, so we could be a little higher.
He was good when he played for Oregon. Yeah, exactly. In college, Ted. He was good in college.
It
didn't translate to the pros. It did not translate to the pros.
But a lot of players don't translate to the pros. Like, you see a lot of quarterbacks struggle once they go pro, and they just don't make it. They fizz out, which is fine.
That's true.
Not everyone's.
This was a big game. Like, I was surprised to see how this game was. And Rex Ryan said this morning on Get Up that the reason why Tampa Bay didn't go off in this game or didn't make it a bigger, scoring game is because Mike Evans wasn't there. He was suspended after that New Orleans game, that little scuffle, if you want to call it that. And Tom Brady just doesn't have another person to throw to other than, the guys he had then. And they really weren't making plays. Look, Gage, 87 yards, Brate, 52 yards. Even Leonard Fournette. I mean, did he get it going on the ground? No, not really.
Yeah, but you also didn't have Godwin, so so
that's true.
He's down 2 star players, But here's the thing: you should be able to perform without them. That's it. There's no excuses at that level. You should be able to perform without them. So we'll give this pass to a younger player or a less experienced player. But when you're Tom the fuck Brady, you should be able to pull it off. Period. And the 2-point conversion, and I got why they did it. And I know we didn't get to Russ yet, but I understood. But this was miserable. This was dumb, and this should have like period. Like I'm not buying this. I'm just not. Like on a Brady level, this is unacceptable. And I like Brady as a Buck. I couldn't stand him as a Patriot, but I like him as a Buck. And this ain't gonna get you another chip. So if you want to put your marriage on the line and your relationship with your kids and all this other shit on the line, it better not be in vain, bro. Get it together. And so Mahomes and Brady got a chip on their shoulder, and they meet next week. So
that should be a good game. None of this nonsense here, this low scoring affair. I'm more concerned about Aaron Rodgers. Is Aaron Rodgers coming close to the end?
Aaron Rodgers don't care. He got his money. That's all
he did.
Cared about.
he got his money.
Like it's clear this man don't give a damn about winning another Super Bowl. Like he's another one. He's another one. Like Lamar. You get to the playoffs and what the fuck happened? Like bro. Like we literally MVP him and Lamar MVP, and then you get to the playoffs and you fizz out. What are we doing? Right. And then after you fizz out for the 3rd season in a row, they pay you a shitload of money, dismiss your superstar wide receiver, and then you sitting here talking about, we won the game, 14 points. Shut up, you didn't win the game.
He'll say, "We'll take a win here. We'll take a win."
You didn't win no game. You just whatever. And I would have been more pissed actually if Brady had tied that game and sent that bullshit game into overtime. That would have made me even more mad. Don't send me into overtime over dumb shit.
This Jaguars Chargers game, I don't really want to get too deep into it, but I was surprised not by Trevor Lawrence, but this guy Justin Herbert. What happened to him?
He's hurt. Like he should have set this one out. Like have who was
many ribs? How many ribs are broken?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's got a couple of ribs broken. He took a nasty hit, and he was just like grimacing. And it's like, why are you out there, bud? Like, we get it. You're tough. We get it. We understand.
No, there's tough, and then this is week 3.
Yeah. Don't be stupid, bud.
Right. And then this is the Jaguars. Not that they're a scrub team. Clearly, they're doing something right with a new coach. But take the week off. This is a team that they have something to prove. So they're gonna play harder. They're gonna be more physical. They're gonna tear your ass up. Why? Because they got they got a chip on their shoulder. So let your backup get some reps. Experience a game. You sit back, let your ribs get a little better, and then you come with your good pattern for the next week, and then you make it good. But he was just not. He was not there. That's the mental check. When you get hurt, you can either push through it or you can't. But if you can't, don't force yourself to do it if you don't have to.
Yeah, he shouldn't have. He should sit down and wait till he's 100% before getting on the field. I noticed that we're missing a person today. Miss Loudmouth 49ers fan over there, not here, to be able to sit down under a loss so that AJ here could just step all around and talk his mess. Where you at, Keisha? Where you at? Where you at? You ducking, Keisha. Where you at?
It was beautiful music to watch, as it said. I mean, this game was boring too. And it wasn't because it was a defensive game. It was just boring. Like it was just nothing. And then for it to be a primetime game made it even worse. And so I think, when you're again, quarterbacks are in that caliber of Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, y'all got to show up and show out on Sunday night. Now it's clear this man has no chemistry with these receivers. He has whatever's being said in his ear, he don't give a fuck about it. And it's like, they fired his head coach right now because the fact that the head coach had to hire somebody to help him, that tells you right there he's not your guy. But
which side?
Broncos. The Broncos.
Oh.
So Nathaniel, whatever the hell his name is. And so I'm like, this is clearly not your guy. Oh no, we'll never. Shannon, please. The 49ers are good. They're a good team. And so I was actually surprised by this low scoring game. And I was surprised that I wasn't surprised by Russ because I could sense that he's trying to find a vibe there that ain't working.
He's not clicking yet.
Right.
It's
And
not clicking.
Because the throws are not bad, but the receivers, you and the receivers are just not on the same page. It's like you're trying to go to his left shoulder, but he's turning to the right. It don't make no damn sense. And this is also what happens when you don't play a preseason game and your first game is in Seattle. That was just dumb. But I don't know what to do. I don't play pro football, so I don't know what needs to be done. But I do know, based on the outside looking in, that head coach got to go. That dude is just dumb. First of all, why the hell would you call a 2-point conversion with a team that's been struggling all night throwing the fucking football? Like, I get why you would want to do it, but from a logical, balanced coaching standpoint, that was not the call. Just go for the field goal. I mean, go for the extra point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go for the extra point and just leave it there. And and just tell your defense to step up and just keep these motherfuckers from scoring. That's it. That's all you had to do. But no, you couldn't even do that. And then 11 points.
This what is this? I'm looking at this.
So Jimmy Garoppolo gave him 2 of those points with the safety when his dumb ass ran out of the back of the end zone and threw the ball.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So Jimmy gave us 2. And then 1 was a field goal. And then finally, there was 1 drive where we saw glimpses of Russell Wilson, the Russell we know, right? Who can put something together in the last minute and then just seal the game. And that was beautiful to watch, but it came too damn late. Like, I need you. I need something from, like, even if you come back from the half and start balling out. But don't bore me like that for 3 quarters and then damn near almost the 4th quarter. And then here we go. You want to throw up some magic. But Chris Collinsworth, who was one of the announcers, he was saying that. He's like, Russ gonna have to cook something up right here, and Russ cooked it up and at least pulled off the W. But that was a terrible, terrible performance. And again, if you're getting paid that much money, this is unacceptable. Period.
Yeah. Is the time do you think this is about continuity for Russell Wilson, or is his time coming to an end? Are we seeing glimpses of that?
No. I don't think it's over. I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, are you bored? Like, because I get it. Like, sometimes you do something for a certain amount of time and it's just like you're ready to move on from it, And I'm like, are you bored with the sport? Are you bored with, or this is just not clicking right now, and y'all trying to figure it out? So I really want to go obviously with the latter. So let's just say you're trying to figure out your receivers and trying to figure out this offensive coordinator and this bad head coach and trying to make something out of this shit. Trying to make a casserole out of this. I don't know, but we're gonna try.
Yeah. I just asked that question only because I wanted to. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. Did you have something? Oh, okay. Because I just wanted to know, like, if seeing the performance, a couple of did we lose you? Sorry. Okay. I just wanted to know, like, over the course of seeing Russell Wilson during this time frame, seeing just his performances the past 3 games, he's not putting up the kind of Russell Wilson numbers that we're used to seeing. And I'm wondering if there's a decline, or is it just so happened to be that he's on a new team, new coach, new players that he has to get more familiarized with?
Yeah, I don't think it's a decline. You can clearly see he still has it. Again, I don't know if it's a passion thing. Like, I kind of feel like, your life goes in stages. So it's like when he started, he wasn't a father, he wasn't a husband. There was no, it was just you. And then it's like life starts to happen. You get married, you start to have kids, your priorities start to shift. And then you can see the shift even in Seattle as he got married and as he started to have kids. And it was like, you seem to be like, it was like this conflict between being a father and being a family man and wanting to be full time all through. And you have Tom Brady, who's like, oh, motherfucker, it's my career. Fuck these kids.
Yeah.
These kids, these kids got everything they want and need. Now, I may not be able to be there every weekend and every recital and every sport thing that they do, but these kids are taken care of. And so I think it's the new team on top of him trying to balance home life and life, whatever, because him and Sierra had and then they have all these business ventures on top of that. So it's like
there's a lot going on.
He's just compacted with a lot of stuff. And I don't feel like football is the priority anymore. And I don't even know why the Broncos gave him that much money, but they did. It is what the fuck it is. But I don't think football is the priority of us anymore, to be perfectly honest with you.
I know that. And it's been evident, and that's probably why also there was that disconnect between him and Pete. Maybe just some bad blood. Also just maybe Pete just say, hey, maybe you're not here anymore. And he's like, no, I'm here.
It
could be like
competitive. Because he kept going in the press conferences like, I want to win 3 more Super Bowls, bro. You don't want to win no Super Bowls. You don't care.
All right, so let's get to our picks for tonight's game. There's a big game. I didn't think it would be this big, but to me, it is actually pretty big. The New York Giants versus the Cowboys tonight. What is your pick tonight?
I'm going with the Giants.
I'm going with the Giants too. And why would you be going with the Giants?
Because the Cowboys suck.
Yeah.
And and let's be clear, I'm no big Giants fan. Like, never my team. But it just in terms of this matchup, I think they just have the more solid roster. Daniel Jones is year 4, year 5. I don't know what we're doing, but New Yorkers are known for giving people chances for some reason. And
I don't know why.
And I'm like, this is just not the dude to keep giving chances.
Yeah. I just picked the Giants because Dak Prescott is not there. So that's the biggest X factor for that team because the Giants defense is not that good. So
Dak is no. Hold on. The backup quarterback did what last week? This week. Hold on. This dude is no scrub. Cooper Rush.
I know. Cooper Rush did come. Yeah.
Cooper Rush came in 3rd in the QBR.
Yeah.
So you came in right behind Lamar Jackson. That dude is no scrub. So let's be very, very clear. He's not going to go out there and stink it up. But I mean, like, Dak is he's another one. He's in that Kyler Murray conversation.
Well, history was made just recently. Albert Pujols hit this. Oh, where's that sound? Oh, I thought I had it. I thought I had it queued. Fire the producer.
Pujols sends one in the air. It's deep to left. Taylor's back at the wall. It's 700.
That's right. Albert Pujols hit 700 home runs. I have my doubts about him that he's probably one of those. Anyways. 700 is no light feat. And we're just also about to see history soon take place. I'm not a Yankee fan. I do like Aaron Judge. I liked Derek Jeter. But Aaron Judge is set to break Roger Maris's record at hitting 61, and he could potentially break it any day now. And he's been talking to the media how difficult it actually has been because it's on his mind. He can't lie and say that it's not on his mind. He's at 60 already, and he's just like, all right, guys, like it's hard to do this stuff, but to do it on a whim, it's even harder, right?
I think baseball stats they matter more than football stats because football will come up with anything. The first person to cross the line holding the ball in their left hand, they'll come up with a stat for any damn thing in football. But I think the baseball stats have more weight because they don't measure every damn thing the players are doing. But no, that's dope. That's dope as hell. I do have one question though. One question.
Yo, go for it. Yeah.
So I don't know if you saw what went down with the Pro Bowl. So the Pro Bowl has been flipped into a multi-day competition and flag football game that will happen in Vegas.
Multi-day? No, I don't like the multi-day aspect of it all. I think that's pointless and is unnecessary. But hey, right now the NFL has
money.
to figure out ways to make money, and to, not only that, AJ, to get back as the primary highest rating in American sports. When
True.
you are coming close, when the NHL is coming close to you, you're starting to lose it, right? The NHL had a huge year last year
Well, you know why
in
that is, though,
ratings.
right? You know why that
Why is
is,
that?
though.
Why?
Because of the whole social justice shit. So
Yeah.
it's like people are just, I don't even think football went as far as basketball did in terms of social justice.
Oh, I know.
But they did enough to turn some people off, and it was like, but basketball just jumped off the damn cliff. And so I get it, but I will get why there will be a surge in hockey. I would have to look in. I'm still not sold on hockey, but I don't know much about it. So
I,
I can't say,
I just think that, did you see the ratings for the past few years
Mm.
on the NBA in the NBA finals has
No.
been a sharp decline.
Really?
Like a sharp. It's like from 20, I think it was like 2018, it started to decline, and then but it obviously COVID brought that down a lot,
hmm
and then it's not raising up again.
The
So they're
math.
trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out. I think the NFL will figure it out, because that's what I have to give it up to Goodell. I know a lot of people don't like him, but the guy knows how. And are they playing in London this year? Are they doing that at all?
Yeah, the Seahawks are playing. I don't know the date, but yeah, there are two games. So yeah.
Yeah, because
Where one?
that is also going to, bring back some energy, not just from here in America, but also on a global scale. And I
Facts.
think that, as soon as, people are feeling better with their money, I think, the sports betting industry is just going to continue to increase as well.
No, but I like
Uh,
Roger Goodell is good at this is why the social justice stuff didn't go too far with Roger Goodell, if you really think about it. He gave a bunch of symbolism, but he never let them go too far. He was like, yeah, put your little thing on your helmet if you want to. And then he gave them options of what they wanted to put on their helmet. So it wasn't like everyone had to put Black Lives Matter or some shit on there. Some people opted for that. I forgot the player's name, but he opted to put someone else's name that wasn't part of the choices. And so it was like, cool, make it your own, do what you want. But I
yeah.
still don't think he managed it well for me. Like if from a standpoint of, okay, optics wise, how much can we do we still gonna piss some people off, but how much can we do to not lose so much? Because he saw what was happening with the NBA. He's not a dumb man. And he's like, okay, cool. We're not gonna jump off the cliff like these people, but we'll give you just enough.
Yep. And I think what is ultimately a huge benefit right now is the opening of that Las Vegas team. And also, what I think is great is just it's the details for me with Goodell as well, is
Mhm.
allowing the players to wear their own cleats, to wear their own, fashion in terms of like they started it late with the NBA.
Mhm.
But I think the MLB kind of I think Goodell led the way with it, and then the Major League Baseball followed. I don't know if you noticed, but like
Right.
even Major League players are wearing their own colors along with their team colors, and I it's that detail for me, because it
Right.
starts to personalize. Hey, I get to personally have this affinity with this player, and I love it, and it draws more people to the game.
Exactly.
But they have to find a way to get the social stuff out of it, because I agree, we want to escape from this nonsense. I don't want to go to a game having to think politics. I really don't.
That's the whole point. That is the whole point of sports. Is like we disagree on a few things, on major things, but this is the one time where we can actually just come together and enjoy a sport. That's it. We're not here to talk about what side of the aisle you're on, who you voted for, what you like, don't like, who you sleeping with. Nobody cares. Right now, we just enjoying the game.
Yeah, and
This
I
is
think
our
that's why
favorite.
there's an uptick in hockey. Aside from the fact that hockey is a very fast and physical sport, I think there's a large uptake. Not only that, too, AJ.
Mhm.
A couple of years ago, there were low scoring games. Now you're having 7-2 games. You're having 10-3 games, 10-5 games. So they've made some changes so that
Mhm.
they can have more scoring, because
Okay.
when they realized, they took this in analytics, and we're in the analytics era, that now, hey, the more your home team scores and you hear your home horn, there's a horn that goes off, it's a thing.
Right.
Anyways, when you hear that, more people want to go to the arena and see those guys. And Connor McDavid, who plays with the Edmonton Oilers, if you haven't known it, he's like right now he's the modern Wayne Gretzky. Not quite there with the numbers, but the guy is outstanding. If you ever watch this guy play, you will fall in love with hockey. The moves is unreal. What this guy can do on ice. Yeah, it's unreal.
All right.
Unreal.
Well, maybe I'll check it out. Maybe.
Well, if you have a moment, he said maybe. If you have a moment, join me for this last segment here. I want to cover something on the way out here, guys. And that will do it for this Monday's edition of Sports Hour here on the Morning Fix. I'm Macho, that's AJ. We'll be back in a moment. All right, we're back here on the Morning Fix Live radio show, and for this final segment, this was a wonderful. I don't like Piers Morgan, but when you pair him up against a real intellectual that he really can't poke with, like Jordan Peterson, man, this was a very tense conversation and eerie, but also very good. But most things are eerie with this guy, complex guy, and Jordan Peterson, because he really says some really deep, provocative shit. And this was a sit down talking about Vladimir Putin and the Ukraine crisis. Here's some of that interview. Of course, we don't have sound.
Notion that he's Hitler. Well, he's a lot more like everybody else than anyone thinks. You know, the notion that he's Hitler or Stalin, that's just foolish. I don't see any evidence for that at all. I mean, first of all, Hitler and Stalin were very singular types, and there's a bit of Hitler and Stalin in everyone. So, you know, there's some truth in that. Maybe there's more in the typical Russian leader than normal. A bit of Hitler in everyone?
Really?
I mean, how intense is that right there? Just making that statement. That for me right there, to say what no one wants to say. And then he's going to back it up. You know, this guy's not an idiot. He's going to back it up.
Exactly. But, you know, that there are just certain names that are just, you know, it takes people all the way off the cliff as soon as you say it. And those are definitely, two of them.
Yep. Yep. Maybe I wouldn't have said that, but let's see how Jordan follows that up. I mean, Piers actually was on the defense there, and it was like, wait, really? Hold up.
There's more than a bit.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, why would have Nazism spread the way it did? You know, people think, well, that's all top down. It's not top down. There's a part of people that are all these people who informed on Kate Berbelsing.
Well, didn't go.
And so what he's saying is a bit. It's Stalin and Hitler's in everyone. A bit of it is in everyone. And he said just more than a bit. He said really, and then he said, yeah. How did you think it was going to spread? And so this is what I'm saying about this whole. When I said earlier today, AJ, about how could they simply just say that Donald Trump says, hey, I'm questioning the election, and every supporter just believed that?
Right.
No, it's in us. We already had the doubts. We already were like, something's not right here. And then he says it, and we're all, you know, we run with it. Like I don't think it's just, oh, he says it, therefore we believe it. I think it's we all had it. He just spoke what we all thought.
Facts.
So.
But didn't Goebbels say that the way to get vast numbers of people to go along with what you want to do is to terrify them?
Yeah, you could
hold
do that.
a grip of terror over them.
Oh, yeah, but...
And in a way, that's what Putin's now doing with the Russian people, where he's going back now into a position of they're all trying to get us, they want to attack us, they want to take us over. He's terrifying his people to rally support for what at the moment is a conflict he has started, which is not going the way he assumed.
Well, the most, what would you say, the wisest commentators on totalitarian states, like Solzhenitsyn, and many psychological commentators, Jung was a good example of that, made a very straightforward case that you can't have a totalitarian state unless every single person is willing to lie about everything all the time. And you can think about that as top down because the leaders lie too. And they also enforce punishments if you don't lie. But then you can also think about it. The totalitarian spirit is replicated at every level of the society. And so in a truly totalitarian state, husbands lie to their wives and parents lie to their children. And the totalitarian state is actually the grip of the lie. And so, and people will certainly go along with that. I mean we're seeing that emerge here with cancel culture. It's like lie.
Yes.
Yep. Very good point there. You're seeing that here. It's not far-fetched, AJ. And also we saw just some of our Republican representatives even questioning the validity of Zelensky. Was he there to actually clean out the quote-unquote swamp, so to speak? Was he the guy to actually revolutionize Ukraine? Or is he just continuing that state of corruption? And now we finally have representatives speaking what we all already assumed.
Booyah. Boo. People. Oh my gosh. And I just, it don't get more. I mean, when the fuck did it become un-American to question stuff? That's what the fuck we do. We question everything.
That part. That part.
Like, I don't understand this. Explain to me more. Like, I don't get it. You know, why are you sending all this money to this country? I think it was some dingbat in a live yesterday who was like, well, Ukraine provides a lot. America can provide what the fuck it needs when it needs it. Like, please spare me this. Oh, we got to send all this money so Ukraine won't do what? Stop us from producing computer chips? Are you fucking stupid? Do you really think I'm gonna sit here and I'm that gullible? I'm really like, yeah, that makes sense. It makes no sense, you know. And no one will give you a straight answer because everyone is so protected by the dummies who support them that they won't say, hey, this makes no sense. Why are you sending all this money to this country? Meanwhile, I'm over here bitching about homelessness and veterans and all this other stuff, and my needs aren't being tended to. But we're sending money to this foreign entity whose flag I didn't even know what the fuck it looked like 6 months ago. But all of a sudden, we have to pay attention to these people. This don't make any sense. The math ain't mathing. I need answers. But people don't do that. Our politicians, you saw Nancy Pelosi, old decrepit ass, get up on that stage at that festival last weekend. It was like, why is she here? You're an elected official. You have no business being at a rock concert. Like, why are you here? Like, you need to be doing what you do because you work for the people, not showing up to a concert to get applause and jam out. Fuck out of here. And if you do, just sit your ass in the audience like everybody else. Ugh.
While people are struggling, they are dancing. While people are struggling, they're telling us we need to send more money to Ukraine. And it's like, well, we need to help our fellow, allies or whatever. Who said there are allies? Since when?
No ally.
I didn't know that.
No ally.
Right?
Fuck y'all. Fuck it. Fuck this. And we all know there's some shady shit going on here. And the people, any one of us like who question it, we're the conspiracy theorists, we're the crazy people, we're anti-American. We don't understand. No, we understand that you motherfuckers are sending tax dollars to a foreign country without our knowledge or representation or full representation of why you're doing it.
Yeah. And there was never a discussion in this running election, this previous one, that if this said thing was to happen, right? They clearly knew this was possibly on the brink. And here we are out of a COVID epidemic, and we're sending money over while we've been depleted in our finances. That makes no damn sense. The math ain't mathing on that, because if I don't have money, I just came out of something. The last thing I'm thinking about is sending money and resources to someone else in which I haven't been able to help myself right now.
Facts.
We're depleted right now, and the last thing I'm thinking about is sending money to someone else. Not that we shouldn't be positioned or postured to help. Of course, why not? But make it a humanitarian thing, not an agenda.
I'm tired of being the global welfare office. I'm tired. I'm tired. We are literally fucking social services for the whole world. These motherfuckers in Central America get money from the United States government every fucking fiscal year. They get boatloads of money sent to these countries, and the citizens are still fleeing. Those are the questions you should be asking. If we're giving you this money to do X, Y, and Z, why are these people fleeing their asses up to our border still? This makes no sense. Everyone should be content, or at least good, and be able to do what they need to do in their own fucking borders. Why are y'all here? So clearly this is bullshit. and stop sending our fucking money. If you're not gonna, if we have the right to ask these questions, but of course we treat our politicians like we treat our favorite movie star. So of course they're not gonna get any straight answers because they're gonna bullshit us, media spin us, and basically make us look like these crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists, which we're not. We're asking logical questions. Period.
Which we historically have done. We always question things and ask the hard questions. We never shied away from that. And yep, that brings us to the end here, folks. Normally give you guys another hour, but today we're ending early. So we'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you soon.